Hi today from Black Forest, Germany. I want to tell you today how I came up with the idea for the $1 billion secret. Several years ago I was in one of those self-development conferences where thousands of people cheer to each other, high-five each other and shout to each other, "You've got a millionaire mind." And I was one of these people. Then it felt somehow awkward and strange to me, and I didn't know why. Then I realized why it felt so awkward. At that time I was a millionaire myself. I have built a multi-million-dollar company, pioneering e-commerce in Germany, but I didn't feel successful with that. It didn't feel like a real entrepreneurial success. Then I realized actually millionaires are just average businessmen. You could even tell mediocre businessmen. This is not the Champions League of business. This is not the highest level of business. The really successful entrepreneurs, the most successful entrepreneurs in the world are the billionaires. But how can I learn from people in a conference who give millionaires as role models, as the benchmark to follow? This is not where I can learn about billionaire thinking. Then I started to research and I found there is actually no original literature or no original sources about billionaire success, about how really the most successful people in the business world think. Of course they are research biographies, but in the biographies you never know if the person considered became successful because of a certain personality trait, or they became successful despite it. And all the other literature comparing different billionaires, it's actually second or third hand literature. It is these are books written by people who read some books about other people, and they try to answer questions. They never asked to the billionaires, and they never met billionaires. And this literature actually reflects more or less their stereotypes about the wealthiest people, and not necessarily the people how they in reality are. I ask myself, how is it that some people having best conditions from the outset live average lives and achieve mediocre results, and others coming from the most hopeless conditions achieve extraordinary results and outrageous success? What is it in the personalities of the most successful entrepreneurs, of the billionaires, that made them so extremely successful? This is the mission I embarked upon 3 years ago. Since then I have traveled the world and met 25 of the most successful entrepreneurs who also belong to the wealthiest people on our planet, in order to interview them and ask them psychological questions to find out the secret of their extreme success. But the task was seemingly impossible to realize. If you look at the probabilities, on average only 1 in 5 million people in the world is a billionaire. Meeting a billionaire by chance is like hitting the pot in the national lottery. But for my project I needed at least 20 billionaires. Do you know anybody who won the national lottery for 20 times straight? It seems impossible. And it wasn't easy at the beginning. I was seeking for months to acquire contacts to billionaires. And then one of my friends gave me a phone number of a guy who worked for a billionaire in his earlier enterprise. And so my task was to call that guy and to convince him to connect me with the billionaire, and then convince, of course, the billionaire for the interview. I remember I was procrastinating for about a month to call this guy. I just didn't have the courage, to take the phone and call this guy, because it seemed so impossible, so improbable to achieve access to a billionaire and then, of course, to follow up with others. So the project seemed too overwhelming for me. I discovered this success principle with wish cards. It's just a piece of paper where you write down your goal. You write down your biggest goal. You sign it. You laminate it. You make like 20 copies or something. You laminate it and you distribute it to your best friends. The goal of that exercise is for your friends to know about your goals, about your commitments, and to put a social pressure on you. So they will always, when they meet you, they will always ask you about your goal. In my case, it was I will write and publish a bestseller by June 30th, 2014. So as you see, I am late with that. So these friends now, all of them, whenever we talk, whenever we meet, they bring up this topic and they ask me, so how far is your book project? When are you going to publish? And so on. And I remember it was like after a month I got this phone number from my friend, and I gave this card to my friend, and he looked at that card and said, what is it? This is piece of shit. Come on, get serious. I gave you a phone number to a possible contact to a billionaire, and you, instead of calling this guy, you're giving me such a shitty card here. Come on, do something. So I felt kind of embarrassed about my friend's reaction, and I didn't have no other choice than to just take the phone in my hand, dial the number and call the guy. And I somehow probably got lucky, because it worked out pretty well with this first billionaire. I set up an interview date and interviewed him, and from that on the project got some momentum. So this is how this all started. I just wanted to share it with you from the wonderful Black Forest in Germany. Thanks, and see you soon.